Hello, my name is Daniela and welcome back to my channel. So I'm not dead, as you can see. Yeah, the last video that I put out, which actually should be out before this, got me into the biggest slump of my life. Reading, editing, making videos. Yeah, definitely I learned a lesson from that. DNF books, if you don't pick them up within the week, and if you like force yourself to pick them up and they're still not good, DNF them anyway, because I had the biggest problem trying to finish those books and it just wasn't in the stars for me. So I am here today to do mid-year book freakout. It's a little bit past the mid-year, almost like in the second half of the year, but we're gonna ignore that. This is gonna be a fun way to catch you guys up on my feelings about the books that I've been reading this year. Also, if you're wondering what I'm reading, I always update my Goodreads, so follow me there. Okay, so let's start with some statistics from the story graph. My goal for this year was 20 books and I'm already way past that. I'm 69 books in, which is pretty good for me. Last year I read about 50, I think, books. So this is like a way improvement. It's mainly because last year, like at the end of the year, middle of the year, I started listening to audiobooks. This year I've been listening to audiobooks like the whole year, so that really helped my reading. The mood that I've been mainly reading in is adventurous, mysterious, and dark, which I don't think that's completely accurate if this is judging by how I rate those books, because I have a really hard time grasping the vibe of a book, because a lot of these vibes kind of blend together to me. So 69 books and 19,997 pages, almost 20,000, and I probably have actually read more than 20,000 because I have been like reading since my last update. Most of the books that I read are fast-paced or medium-paced. Yeah, slow-paced books are not for me. I just like action in my books, like things happening, story progressing. So yeah, number of pages. So this says like the medium books are my go-to, which I guess they are, though I do prefer short, like 300 pages or less, and like a series. But I guess like a middle book is good, and I have big book phobia. Audiobooks not so much, but like physical, yes. 1% non-fiction and 99% fiction, 100%. I did say I wanted to read at least one non-fiction book a month, which hasn't happened, but you know, I'm reading what I like, so I'm happy, and that's all that matters to me. So the genre that I read most is fantasy, romance, and young adult. I have read 60 fantasy novels and 23 romance novels and 13 young adult novels, which is, yeah, it's correct. I love fantasy. That's my go-to genre, fantasy romance. I'm not sure about young adult. I would more say new adult or adult, but yeah, I guess it knows better than I do. But my preferred would be like new adult or adult fantasy romance, because I love smut in my books. So formats, 70% of the books that I have read are audiobooks, which makes sense. 17 were print and 13 were digital, like percent. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I don't really have time to just sit down and read a book anymore, so audiobooks are my like go-to on the run. Just put it in and listen. The 3 most read authors are Charlene Harris. Been loving the Sookie Stackhouse series. There's a mention in them in the tags later. Kim Harrison, also mentioned her later, and Brandon Moe. I totally forgot that I've like finished the Fable Haven series this year. That was at the beginning of the year. Like, I'm way past that, but I did really enjoy those books. I don't know if, I think Brandon Moe has like a different series and I'm tempted to pick it up, but his writing wasn't anything special. It was good, so I'm not really like tempted to go pick up something else he's written, because I just like the story and the characters. But then again, maybe like it will translate to different stories, his writing, if that makes sense. And also he's tied with Rachel Mead, which I don't know if she made something else than the Vampire Academy series, but I binged listened to that recently and it was fine. Like, if I had to categorize a horse series, it'd be a 3.5, maybe 4-star. But like each individual book was like maybe a 3 to 4. So yeah, it isn't, it's good, but it isn't great, you know. Here's some statistics for the number of books and pages per month. So in June I read the most pages, and in March I read the most books, and in April I didn't read any pages, which is weird, but whatever, statistics, right? And my average rating is a 3.76, which sounds good. Like a 3 is my general, like I enjoyed this book, it wasn't anything special, maybe I'll continue, maybe not, you know. A 4 is like, wow, this is really great, just something missing, and a 5 is like, love this book, enjoyment, 10 out of 10, you know. So yeah, that's some statistics for you. Now to the actual like questions. Best book you've read so far in 2020. I have 2 for these. Like I have multiple answers, so hold your hand. The best book you've read so far in 2020, Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. That book knocked me off my ass. It was the first Taylor Jenkins Reid book that I have read, but old Hollywood drama. I love dramas like between people, just that works for me. So these whole interpersonal relationship dramas in Hollywood, like, or a Hollywoodish setting, loved it so much. Heard a lot of great things about it from people. So when I went to London during the summer and was at Waterstones, I was like, I need a book to read, let me pick this up, and very much enjoyed it. Very glad I picked it up. I read it in like a day and a half, so definitely will recommend that if you haven't picked that up yet. The second one is Six of Crows. Like, I'm kind of sad that both of these books are like people's favorite books. I wish I would come up here and say something like niche and unexpected and an indie novel, but now these are like big published books, which is kind of sad but kind of like expected, since I was like, okay, let me read something that a lot of people have recommended, like I probably won't be disappointed, and I'm not, and it's just kind of like, what do you expect? Anyway, Six of Crows, I couldn't stop listening to it. I couldn't believe that I hadn't listened to it at this point. I still haven't read the second book. Yeah, I actually liked it more than the Shadow and Bone series. Yeah, don't know why, just preferred it. Okay, second question. The best sequel you've read so far in 2022. The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson. I have read until the 4th book in the Miss Burns series, and the second book is probably my favorite. I just love political dramas, like I said. Dramas between people, dynamics, relationships, plus a political kingdom stuff thing. Yeah, love that. And in the first book, you kind of get to know these characters. The main focus is the heist. But in the second book, you already know and love these characters, and you see them grow even more. And yeah, just the dynamics and relationships. Love that. And the second one is For a Few Demons More by Kim Harrison. It is, I believe, the 5th book. Don't quote me on that. It's one of the later books in the Rachel Morgan series. I love this book. I didn't realize how much I love this series until I read this book and realized how much I've come to love these characters and care for these characters. So yeah, I have read the one after that, but I think this one is my favorite. It just comes to a head, kind of like it comes to a point where you either like realize that you really love these characters, or realize that you don't really care for these characters, and then why are you reading these books, you know? So yeah, those two. New releases you haven't read but you want to. I'm not much of a new release girl, if you didn't notice. I like backlist books. I like to have fully fleshed out and finished series to read, so this isn't really a question for me. Most anticipated release for the second half of the year. Yeah, like I said, not really a new release girl, so leave that to the people who actually read newly released books, not me. I go back in the past and dig through the stuff that you maybe wouldn't have picked up otherwise. Number 5, biggest disappointment. Oof, yeah, this is a sad one. The Queen's Gambit by Walter Tevis. I like the show. I watched like the first 2-3 episodes, and I got the book as a present for my birthday, which this has nothing to do with that. I would have bought it on my own anyway because I like the show, but just something about, I DNF'd it by the way, something about the writing really didn't work for me. Like there was action happening, but there wasn't action happening, you know, like something dramatic was happening. It was written in a way where I didn't care about it, where I thought it was slow, and I didn't like the portrayal of the girls in the book. I don't know, it felt very much women written by men. That said, I realized that our main character, which I don't even remember her name, Beth, is supposed to be kind of is she on the autism spectrum? I'm not quite sure, but she's like different, right? I don't think that's that, because I also didn't like her black best friend, which I also don't remember her name. But yeah, no, wasn't for me. Like the show though. Also, first book in the Bridgerton series, The Duke and I. Also DNF that after I found out that like all of the books are the same, like it wasn't bad. Like the rating was good. I also have to say I'm not an expert in historical romances. The only historical romance I probably read was the Shadowhunters series, like the three books that are set in like ye old England. Other than that, I don't think I ever read another historical romance. So the rating was good, like the characters, but I just wasn't, maybe because it's a show, maybe I spoiled myself kind of. I wasn't interested in continuing to read. I got like 2 to 50% mark, and then I was like, whatever, not really interested. I know where this is gonna go, and I know it's gonna be worse than the show, so I'm just gonna stick to the show and pick up some other historical romances. Also 1984 by George Orwell, but that's apparently just a me thing. Respect the book for what it is, but it's not very well written. It also, like, I don't like the main character, and if it wasn't for the last 10% of the book, I probably would have given it a 2-star. Another 3. So yeah, at least one book that I finished that I didn't like. Biggest surprise this year. My biggest surprise was the urban fantasy series that I have been reading, like Nine Huntress and The Hollows. Like I said, the Rachel Morgan books are great, and the Kat Denning books are also great. I have been really loving these type of urban fantasy, woman kicks ass series. Not to say all of them are great. There is this one by, I don't know who's the author, but Mercedes Thompson. The series is Mercedes Thompson series. They're good, but they're, I don't know, they're more focused on the plot and on the characters, which I think the characters have great potential, so it's kind of a shame. I am, but 2 or 3 books in, so maybe I'll change my mind. But also the Hairdresser series, I kind of just feel that it's fluttering out. Like the first books, I was in love with them, but that was the first like kind of urban fantasies that I started reading. Love Harry as a character, love the plots and the stories and the characters just in general, but it kind of just feels like it's not going anywhere, in my opinion. Still gonna read and continue the series because it's just entertaining, but I don't know where it's gonna go in the future. So that's kind of like with the Kat Denning series, with the Hollow series and the Night Huntress series, I know, I kind of feel where the books are going, but that might be just a me thing. Favorite new author or new to you, which this one is new to me, and it's Brandon Sanderson. I have started reading the Mistborn series, the Way of Kings series, Stormlight Archives. I'm reading The Way of Kings, so the first book in the Stormlight Archives series. And I'm feeling like his writing is very uniform. Like if you like one book, you probably like the other. Very, very skeptical about going into his sci-fi books because I personally don't like sci-fi, but we'll see. Maybe with him it'll work. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna be delving into different series of his and different books of his. This is what I have with authors. Like, I may like a series from you. That doesn't mean I like you as an author, you know? But with Brandon Sanderson, I feel like I like you as an author and I like your books. So that's kind of like how I feel with Rick Riordan, you know? You can write anything and I will like your books. So Brandon Sanderson and Rick Riordan are kind of head-to-head right now. Definitely still like Rick more because I have a special place in my heart for the books that he writes. Yeah, Brandon Sanderson is definitely getting into my like favorite authors table or whatever it's called, or whatever I even have. Newest fictional crush, Eric Northman from the Sookie Stackhouse series. Something about a big buff vampire Viking just does it for me, and Eric's personality is top notch. I hope she ends up with Eric. Yeah, I don't know how the series ends. I know it's ended and I haven't finished it yet, but I love Eric so much. I hate Bill. I hate Bill so much. He has a personality of a wooden door. Yeah, but Eric works with me. Ooh, yeah, no, I'm gonna stop there. Eric Northman, definitely, if I ever write a book, there's gonna be like an Eric Northman type character. Big, buff, blonde, Viking. That's apparently my type right now. Yeah. Newest favorite character. I love me a strong-willed woman, so Sookie Stackhouse, that girl can get it, like, and she is even more impressive than like the others I'm gonna mention. I'm just gonna say Sookie Stackhouse deserves an award because she doesn't have like any, okay, she can kind of like read minds, right? But she can't kick ass, she's not super athletic, she doesn't have any combat training. She's just an ordinary human being with like some quirks, so she deserves like a medal or an award or something. Also, Kat Dennings, loves me a woman in charge, a redhead at that, and Rachel Morgan, also a redhead. Do I have a thing for redheads? I don't think so, but these authors sure do. Something about a redhead in the urban fantasy. A book that made you cry. I had to think about this. I knew one book that made me cry, right? And I didn't really know if any other. I couldn't really remember, but I knew this one made me cry, and it is For a Few Demons More by Kim Harrison. Yeah, I cried. And I didn't even realize how, like, this was the thing. I didn't realize how much I cared until I started crying. And then I knew, like, oh my god, I love this series. Like, how did I never realize that I love this series? Yeah, that one, I already mentioned it. Books that made you happy. Wake Up Sleeping Beauty Volume 1. I was really happy. It's actually manga, but I was really happy realizing that I had this. Like, I was like, I didn't really know what to expect. I thought this was about, I don't go into books knowing what they are about, okay? Just disclaimer. I went into this thinking it was about a girl with narcolepsy for some reason, which is not. I'm not gonna tell you what it's about because it's kind of spoilery, but I was really happy realizing that I found like a gem amongst manga because I haven't like heard a lot about this. So I'm really happy to like buy the other volumes and finish this. The first volume like really made me happy. I think I gave it like 5 stars. I was like, wow, this is really good. I'm really happy I got this. So that was a book that made me happy. Most beautiful book you've bought this year or were gifted. I didn't buy a lot of books this year. I have bought 2 books this year and were gifted, was gifted 1. No, actually we gifted 2, but yeah, they're not really like decorational, to just have like normal covers. Last year I used to buy like 5 books a month, but this year I was like, I'm cutting down on book buying because I'm listening to a lot of audiobooks, so I don't need physical copies. And also I'm reading a lot of electric books, like electrically, if that makes sense. So really don't have anything for this. Maybe the Taylor Jenkins Reid 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo cover, but it's just like a nice cover. It's not anything special. Like last year I bought decorational covers, like hardback with foil and stuff, but this year, yeah, not really. What books do you need to read by the end of the year? And that would be my physical TBR. Okay, so like I mentioned, I didn't buy any books this year, but I still have some books that are left over from last year that I didn't read. So, and these are these 2 I haven't read because I'm trying to finish the Rinse and Wind series from Terry Pratchett, so I don't want to jump into another series of his. This one I bought for a video, which I think I'm still gonna make, but I don't know if I'm gonna make it this year, so debating whether I should read it now. And then we have The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, which I bought at a secondhand bookstore and really don't want to read because it's a thick book. Yeah, I'm not really interested in reading this. I don't know why I bought it, because it was a secondhand book, so, and it was cheaper. I need to really think about the books I buy. And also this one, which this is like a souvenir book kind of, The Museum of Broken Relationships in Croatia, in Zagreb. I was there and I bought this book, and I'm kind of debating when to read this because some of the stories are really sad, and if I'm in a good mood that I want to read, and I don't want to read something sad when I'm in a good mood, you know, so this is kind of like a tricky book, because when I read physical books I usually read them before bed, like an hour before bed I sit down and read a physical book to kind of wind down, and I don't want to feel sad before I go to sleep. So like, it's not gonna be a long read because, as you can see, there's a picture and a little bit of text, so it's really gonna take probably like 2 hours at max to finish this because it is a little bit thick. But I'm just trying to get myself like in the right mindset. Okay, and that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed catching up with me a little bit, catching up with what I've been reading, and I'm gonna try to post regularly again. I don't know how that's gonna go. Maybe at least a video a month, but we'll see. Hope I don't get into another video making slump, because that's not fun. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!